Reading with your kids.
Hola, niho, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, mahaba, morimuli wanji, namaste, jumbo, bienvenidos. Hi, my name is Jed Lee, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We're coming to you from the beautiful neighborhood of Reedville in the southwest corner of Boston, Massachusetts. We are so delighted and so very honored that you are joining us in our mission to help all families grow closer through reading. Please be sure to tell all of your family and friends about the show, and please be sure to subscribe to the show in the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Podcast Addict, wherever you find your podcast. Our guest today is Stenetta Anthony. She's returning to the show to celebrate Ella Learns to Dance. Before we invite Stenetta back into the studio, we want to let you know that we have a brand new Reading with Your Kids certified great read. The Chuckle Wobbles by Prue McDonald is our latest Reading with Your Kids certified great read. Here's our review. The Chuckle Wobbles is an amazing children's book with an inspiring, positive message. Prue McDonald teaches kids how to cultivate moments of happiness that we may access when we're feeling stressed or depressed. The book follows the Chuckle Wobbles, a cheery species that live on the planet Mirth, which is spinning in dimensional space. They have an upbeat, bubbly personality, and they love to dance. They have the ability to enter a book called Portals to Other Planets and travel to unhappy planets in order to lift their spirits. Giggle and Cackle, two Chuckle Wobbles, are on a new mission, heading to the planet Mopus to assist the Doldrums in finding happiness. But instead, they encounter a species that rejoices in misery is resistant to change. Giggle and Cackle decide to remain anonymous due to Chuckle Wobble's unpleasant past with the planet. With the help of their new Doldrum friend Blubber, they learn more about Mopus. Together, they discover the enchanted Bamboozy Woods, the enigmatic Red Door, and the entity known as the Watcher, who turns out to be an important character in their quest. They also devour a cranky chocolate cake and feel unhappiness for the first time. Cackle and Blubber then chase after and save a floating Giggle after her delight sends her flying. They come to understand that even the most gloomy creatures contain happiness in their heart. It's a really wonderful book. You have to check it out. It's loads and loads of fun. The Chuckle Wobbles by Prue McDonald, our latest Reading with Your Kid certified great read. Join us right now from the beautiful city of Chicago. Our guest is returning to the show to celebrate her brand new picture book. It's called Ella Learns to Dance. Please welcome back to the show, Stenetta Anthony. Hey, my friend, how are you?
Hi, I am well. How are you?
Wonderful. Wonderful to see you again. Stenetta was here probably very early on in the life of the podcast to celebrate her book, Sally Finds a Home. Am I remembering the title right?
A little bit. It is A Home for Sally.
A Home for Sally.
A little bit.
A little dyslexic there, so I got things mixed up. But that was a wonderful book, and so many people loved it, and we were able to exhibit that book at a number of different events, and people there loved them, and kids loved receiving them as a prize. I know the families are going to love Ella Learns to Dance just as much. Tell us all about this book, please.
Okay, so Ella Learns to Dance is about an elephant, of course, and we know how elephants look. They're a little big, and they can be a little, I'm going to say, not grumpy, but they can be a little lumpy or sorts. And so with Ella, she watches ballet dancers, and she loves ballet dancers. And I don't want to give away the whole book, but she wants to take ballet lessons. And with this, when she says this to her friends, she wants to take ballet lessons, it is not well received by them. Of course, Ella has a happy ending. And so it takes you through the scenarios of Ella when she does take the ballet classes, how she has to learn that there are challenges with learning any new skill. And so there are times that she wants to give up. She becomes discouraged. And even in the ballet class, some of the students and the teacher kind of looks like, you're an elephant and you want to do ballet? How graceful can you be? Are you going to be falling all over the floor? But like I said, it's a happy ending, and I'm glad she had a happy ending. This is actually going to be the first in an Ella series. So she's the launching of this particular character, Ella.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of fun. And it brings back some wonderful memories. My daughter loved to dance. We kind of fibbed. She was just this active ball of energy when she was young. And my wife was driving by a dance school one day and dropped in, and they said, oh, yes, we accept children from 4 to whatever. And my daughter was 2.5 at the time, and my wife said, yeah, she's 4. Let's sign her up. And somehow they bought it. And so she danced from 2.5 to, past 18. And it was so many great memories and so many great friendships. But most of it was that joy of movement that kids can experience no matter what their body type might be.
And that's true. My granddaughter, she just started taking ballet classes, and they had their first recital. She is, how old is she? 3. And they had their first recital this past summer, and it was just the best because you had the 2 and 3-year-olds. They're 2 and 3.
Yep.
But they did a fantastic job. One of the students, one of the memories is one of the students fell. My granddaughter, she stopped dancing to go over to help her up. And then she went back to dancing again. And so it was fun to watch them dance and twirl and spin around and try to do all the moves that they had practiced in dance class. So it's fun. And even with me, I'd taken modern dance in high school. My husband said I have 2 left feet, so he don't know how I did it. But I did. And so Ella's story kind of fits in with that. It has that kind of quirkiness, because I'm a little quirky when it comes to dancing. I think I can dance, but that's in my mind.
Well, I think that's one of the beauties of dance is that, sure, there are, prima ballerinas and all different levels, and there are certainly, masters of every style of dance, but the vast majority of people who dance fall somewhere way short of that standard. And the fact of the matter is it's just being able to get out there and move and feel your body and feel the endorphins that kick in when we're moving. And what a great lesson to teach our kids. When we introduce our kids to something like dance and movement, we're giving them a gift that can really last them a lifetime.
And it is. And, it comes where dancing is beneficial to whether you're young or old with exercise. So it's important. It's fun. Usually most people who are dancers, they usually are smiling because you're having a good time when you're dancing, whether you're dancing alone or whether you're dancing with someone. And, dancing is a great tool, and it can be a fun activity for anyone.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. And, you mentioned, that some of the kids weren't supportive of Ella and telling her, oh, you can't do this. You're an elephant. You're not going to be graceful. One of the things that I've seen over the years, and is that image of the ballet class, and you can't be in that ballet class unless you're perfect in the perfect body type. And there certainly are classes and schools that kind of fit that stereotype. But I'm finding there are more and more schools that are open to everyone. And in fact, I helped a kid with severe neurological developmental delays, and I helped her get into a ballet class, and she loved it, and her classmates loved it too.
And I'm sure she flourished. Recently, I heard a story from a ballerina, and I was watching it on television, and this is a professional ballerina, and she said that the struggles that she had with weight when she was maybe 10 pounds over, I can't think of her name right now, but maybe if she was 5 to 10 pounds over, she was overweight, what they considered overweight. She was discouraged from dancing. And she wasn't a big woman. She was a very thin woman. But like you said, it has gotten better. But I guess for the most part, if you're a ballerina, I can understand because someone's lifting you and you have to twirl and everything, and you probably have to maintain a weight. But we have to be careful as well that we're not discouraging those who want to take that type of dance, even if it's not professionally, that you just want to do it for fun and one exercise or something like that. So we can't discourage anyone from participating in a particular, well, we shouldn't. I'm going to say we shouldn't. We shouldn't discourage anyone from participating in a particular activity. Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that we can do as parents is to decide what kind of experience, whether it's on the playing field or in a ballet studio or karate studio, what level we want our kids to experience. If we're looking for them to be that in that rigorous ballet studio where maybe they'll become a prima ballerina for the American Ballet Theater at some point, that's one thing. But if you just want your kids to get out there, have fun, learn something, learn some discipline, get that exercise and get that confidence, you can find those experiences too.
And and with Ella, that's what she had to learn. She had to go through the process of everyone isn't going to accept her because of the way she looks. She's big. She's an elephant. She's not considered as graceful. With the circus, in the circus they would have the elephant stand on the little stand and twirl around and stuff, and it's really cute. But that's not their norm for them. Of course you have to be trained, but I like her story. I guess I like it because I read it.
Yeah. Was there someone that inspired Ella in this story?
I think it was actually me. Because I'm the twirler around and I dance whenever I feel like I want to dance. And I know I can't dance. And actually my husband and my children, all of them can dance. But I can't. When he says I have 2 left feet, I do have 2 left feet. And so I think it was me. And then just listening to other children where they were kind of discouraged from taking a particular activity, maybe not dance, but maybe something else. And I would hear them say, well, this person said I'm not good at that. Well, just try it and see. You never know how successful you can be. You should never discourage anyone. And so as a former educator, sometimes I've seen that with children, and sometimes adults would discourage children from participating in a particular activity by the way they looked or just anything. And so we have to be careful that we're not doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the story you told of your granddaughter and stopping to dance to go over and help her friend who fell down during the recital, and then get right back in and get back in line and doing that. It sounds like that lesson of being kind is something that's very important to you and something that you taught your kids, and they're teaching your grandkids.
It is. Kindness is so important. We in society, we have to be kind to one another because we don't know what a particular person they're experiencing in life, because you can have a smile on your face and just going through the hardest, most difficult time of your life. And I'm sure that we've all seen that in people. And when certain things occur, we're like, well, how did that happen? They seem to be happy all the time. They seem to be cheerful all the time. And so we have to be kind. So in my books, I want to share. I want to have my books to have a voice to say, let's be kind to one another. Let's embrace one another's differences and things like that.
It's so important. You mentioned that you're a former educator. We've talked a lot here on the podcast about education, and my wife, people who listen regularly know that my wife recently retired after teaching in the Boston Public Schools for 34 years, and she's seen education in schools change a lot. And I have a feeling that you experienced that change too. How has education changed in your experience, and what kind of changes were great and what kind of changes weren't so great?
Well, okay. Some of the things is you can't do. I want to say it the right way. I don't want to be bashing anything, but some things we just have to be careful as teachers or as a former teacher that we are loving the children the way they are. I have heard teachers say, especially when they're close to retirement, that I'm getting ready to retire, so I don't care. Mm-hmm. And so that's the wrong attitude, because when you come in or you're going out with that type of attitude, it's a disadvantage to your students, because you don't know what kind of student you have. And so we have the policy, no child left behind. But there were so many children that are and continue to be left behind. Mm-hmm. And there are so many struggles that we feel that as adults that we struggle with, but there are so many little children, 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, that are struggling, that don't have food, that are coming to school, don't have a parental relationship, and they are bringing all of these things into the classroom. And so as an educator, you have to be aware that it's not just the educational part, it's not just the books, it's not just the curriculum, but it's the whole child. Mm-hmm. And how can I teach this whole child? And sometimes it is difficult as a teacher to teach them when they're having struggles, and you can't, sometimes your hands are restricted, mm-hmm. when you can only go so far because of governmental rules or state rules. And I understand why those things are in place. But it makes it difficult for you sometimes as a teacher, mm-hmm. To say, I want to hug you, but I can't. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I just can't. I may want to say something to you, but I can't. I just can't. Mm-hmm. And it's hard. And you take those things home. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say I taken them home. I can't say about anybody else, but I taken them home. And some of the students that I've seen that I think that they should have been progressing a little better, but they didn't have the help that they needed. Mm-hmm. Maybe we didn't have the after-school programs or different things like that to help them to progress. So teaching was a joyous part. I like the joyous part when I seen the success of my children and they come back maybe 20 years later, I'll be like, oh, someone's old. And they come back to the classroom where you see them out and about by you. I remember you, because my primary grade was kindergarten.
Right.
And so they would be like, Mrs. Anthony, I remember you when we jumped around the classroom. Okay. And so, and then when they tell you their success stories, and so you feel that you're a part of their success, even though you may have only had them for a year or maybe two. You feel like you're a part of their success as well. And it's nice to be remembered by a former student. It is just the best thing ever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, your eyes light up with such love as you're remembering those memories, and I absolutely can relate of taking those feelings, those frustrations home with you. That's one of the reasons I got out of human services. It doesn't matter how many kids you help, if it's that one kid that you weren't able to get to, that kind of sticks with you. So I want to thank you for all that you did for the kids at the schools that you worked at. You're still educating kids as an author. Is that something that was that you were aware of, that you were shifting your kind of the way you were teaching from being in a classroom to writing children's books?
Yes, because my first book, when I wrote my first book, I taken it to my classroom, and I had my students to listen to me read my first book, and they told me what they liked and they didn't like. And so I've taken that on. So even now as an author, I am conscientious that children are my audience. And so when I'm reading, before I put anything else to the public, I go to my audience and I read to my audience. And my audience is truthful. I have heard, I don't like any of that. Why do they look like that? I have heard everything. And then I've heard, I just don't like it at all. So I have to sit and I have to think about, okay, so what do they like, or what do they like? So yeah, it's important.
Yeah.
That is so important to me.
Yeah. Well, we really love that you are writing and you're still educating, you're still loving those kids, and you're still bringing that joy to kids. And I'm so excited that Ella is going to be a series. Any teasers of what she's going to be doing in the next adventure? Okay,
so in the next adventure, I am actually working on 2 books at the same time, believe it or not. So I'm trying to decide which one I'm going to go with. But in the next adventure, I believe that what I'm going to release is Ella is discovering to love herself just as she is. She's looking at another character. I'm not going to say what the character is, but she's looking at another character that's in the book, and she wants to be like that particular character. So she goes on this little adventure trying to figure out, how can I be just like them? And she finds out in the end that it's okay to be just like you.
Yeah. Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, I know people are going to want to know where they can go to find out more about Ella Learns to Dance and find out more about you.
Okay, so you can visit my website. Ella is not officially released. She is going to be released in January of 2023, which is actually just around the corner. So you can visit my website at www.Stenetta, and let me spell that for you, Stenetta, Anthony, Anthony. That's all one word, Weebly, WEEBLY.com. And I'm excited to say that Ella won her first award even before she comes out. I'm excited.
Congratulations. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, we've had a great time speaking to the author of Ella Learns to Dance, brand new picture book from our guest, Stenetta Anthony. Stenetta, thanks so much for being back with us.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited. I was excited to be here.
Please be sure to join us for the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Our guest will be Christy Shimada. She'll be here to celebrate the Samurai's Gift. That's the next episode of the podcast. Hey, if you are an author of a fantastic children's book, you may be wondering, how can I enter my book into that certified great thingy you were talking about at the beginning of the show? Well, it's really easy. You can go to our website, readingwithyourkids.com. Click on the Authors Click Here button at the top of the page and scroll on down to Certified Great Read. You'll learn all about the program and also be able to enter your book right there on that page. Check it out today, readingwithyourkids.com. Click on the Authors Click Here button at the top of the page to learn how your book could become our next Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read. Want to thank the folks who made today's show so wonderful. Of course, we're going to start by thanking our guest, Stenetta Anthony. Please be sure to check out Ella Learns to Dance. Also want to thank my team, Fatima Khan, Rory Grady, Jordan Saley, Stephanie Davila, Will Cheever. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. Most of all, we all want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. And as always, thank you so very much for taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.